Welcome to BoneColdUSA.
On a hill outside Louisville, Kentucky, there is a building that has been called, by investigators, historians, and the people who've spent the night inside it, the most haunted place in America. It is 5 stories tall. It has over 400 rooms. And between 1910 and 1961, an estimated 63,000 people died within its walls. Not in accidents, not in violence, from disease, slowly, over years, in rooms they never left. The building is still standing. You can visit it. You can pay to spend the night. Most people who do don't make it until morning. Welcome back to BoneColdUSA. This is Dead Address, our series where we go inside America's most haunted locations and don't leave until we have answers. Tonight, Waverly Hills Sanatorium, Louisville, Kentucky. Let's go in.
Dead Address is the series where we investigate one location per episode. Not a list, not a countdown. One place, every detail, every documented case. Waverly Hills has been investigated by ghost hunting teams, university researchers, documentary crews, and tens of thousands of overnight visitors. What they've found, and what they've recorded, is extraordinary. To understand why Waverly Hills is haunted, you have to understand what it was built for, and what happened inside it. In the early 1900s, tuberculosis was the deadliest disease in the United States. It was called the White Plague. There was no cure. If you contracted it, your chances of survival were low, and your treatment was isolation. Jefferson County, Kentucky had one of the highest TB infection rates in the country, largely due to the swampy, damp conditions around Louisville. In 1910, the city built a dedicated tuberculosis hospital on a hill south of the city, elevated, breezy, away from the population. They called it Waverly Hills. The original building was a 2-story wooden structure. By 1926, the patient population had grown so large that it was replaced with the massive Gothic stone building that still stands today. 5 stories, 400 rooms, its own zip code, its own power plant, its own water supply. At its peak, Waverly Hills housed over 400 patients at a time. Many of them were children. The treatments were brutal by modern standards. Patients had portions of their ribs removed to allow their lungs to expand. Balloons were surgically inserted into their chests. They were strapped to boards and wheeled outside in freezing temperatures. Doctors believed cold air would slow the infection. Many patients spent years at Waverly Hills. They were born there. They died there. The death rate at its worst was as high as 1 person per day. When people died at Waverly Hills, the hospital faced a problem. The building sat on a hill. The road down was visible from the patient wards, and hospital administrators were terrified, correctly, that if patients watched body after body being carried down the hill, morale would collapse entirely. So they built a tunnel, a 500-foot underground tunnel running from the basement of the hospital down to the railway line at the bottom of the hill. Bodies were loaded onto carts and sent down through the darkness, out of sight, away from the living. Staff called it the Body Chute. At peak mortality, this tunnel was in use every single day. Today, the Body Chute still exists. It is still accessible. And it is, by consistent report from investigators, ghost hunters, and ordinary visitors, one of the most oppressive, terrifying spaces any of them have ever entered. People report being touched in the tunnel, hearing footsteps behind them, seeing lights with no source,
feeling a pressure on their chest so intense it causes them to turn back. Several people have reported being physically pushed. The tunnel is 500 feet long. Most people don't make it to the end.
Waverly Hills has been investigated more thoroughly than almost any other location in the United States. Let me take you through the most documented cases, floor by floor. The 5th floor, room 502. Room 502 is the most infamous room in the building. It was a nurse's station, and 2 nurses died there under circumstances that were never fully explained. In 1928, a nurse named Mary Hillenberg was found hanged in room 502. She was 29 years old and reportedly pregnant. The official ruling was suicide, but staff at the time questioned it. There was no note, no prior indication. In 1932, a second nurse was found dead in room 502, thrown from the window. Again, ruled suicide. Again, no note, no witnesses. 2 nurses, same room, 4 years apart. Visitors today consistently report nausea, dizziness, and an overwhelming sense of despair the moment they cross the threshold. One overnight team recorded a thermal camera image showing what appeared to be a female figure standing in the corner, which disappeared when they approached. The 4th floor, children's ward. A rubber ball left in the corridor by investigators has moved on its own, captured on stationary cameras with no one present on multiple separate occasions by multiple separate teams. The sound of children laughing has been recorded in the empty ward by at least 3 independent teams using different equipment. The 3rd floor, general wards. The most consistent report from the 3rd floor is sound, footsteps, specific, deliberate human footsteps walking the corridors at night, captured on audio by dozens of independent teams. Researchers at a Louisville audio lab analyzed several of these recordings and confirmed they contained sounds inconsistent with environmental noise or equipment artifact. They could not identify what the sounds were. In 2006, a ghost investigation team captured what became one of the most debated pieces of paranormal video evidence in American history. A static camera at the end of a 3rd floor corridor recorded, at approximately 3 a.m., a dark shape, low to the ground, moving rapidly across the corridor and disappearing through a solid wall. The shape moves too quickly for a person crawling, too large for a rodent. The building layout shows no opening where the shape disappeared. 3 independent video experts analyzed the footage. None found evidence of tampering. None could identify what the shape was. That video has been viewed over 40 million times. In 2014, during a documented overnight investigation, team member Aaron Goodwin reported being grabbed and thrown against the Body Chute wall, captured on camera, showing him stumbling backward with force consistent with a push, while no one was near him. In 2019, a solo investigator spent 72 hours alone inside Waverly Hills. On the second night, his audio recorder left running in room 502 captured 14 minutes of what sounds like a woman crying. When he played it back, he ended the challenge early. He has not returned.
Waverly Hills closed as a tuberculosis hospital in 1961, when antibiotics made sanatoriums obsolete. It briefly reopened as a geriatric facility, a period that added its own dark chapter, with reports of patient neglect leading to closure in 1981. The building sat empty for over 20 years, vandalized, deteriorating, scheduled for demolition.
In 2001, a couple named Charlie and Tina Mattingly purchased Waverly Hills and began a restoration that continues today. They opened it for tours and overnight investigations, and in doing so, preserved one of the most historically significant buildings in Kentucky. Today, you can visit for a guided tour, an after-dark flashlight tour, or a full overnight investigation with access to the entire building from dusk until dawn. Overnight experiences are sold out months in advance. People keep going back. Some of them, when you ask why, struggle to explain it clearly. They say it feels like the building wants to be witnessed, like the people who died there, all 63,000 of them, want someone to know they were there. Maybe that's all a haunting is, a refusal to be forgotten.
Still standing, still open, still waiting. If you visited Waverly Hills or spent the night, I want to hear what happened. Drop it in the comments. Every single one gets read. That's Dead Address, Episode 1. Next month, we go inside Eastern State Penitentiary in Philadelphia, where Al Capone's cell is said to still have an occupant. Subscribe so you don't miss it. New BoneColdUSA episodes every Tuesday and Friday. And remember, 63,000 people died in that building. Not all of them left.